Hey everyone! Okay, I have a look and it's pretty easy for anyone who wants some last minute inspiration. I focus on something that would look great in person but also photograph really well and will last for hours, so you can be out till like 8 in the morning with this look. Okay, so since I'm going to be using more powder than usual, I'm going to start by mixing luminizer into my primer and then buffing that in. For oily skin though, I would just apply a mattifying primer and then luminizer on the high points of the face. I'll be applying my highlight and contouring first and then blending it together with foundation. This is the Scott Barnes technique and it'll just blend more easily and just look more natural. Cream foundations can get a little greasy since they have oils and waxes in them, and we want this to last for hours. So if you're on the oily side, you can apply it with a damp sponge instead, which will pick up the pigment but not the oil. I'm applying a dark neutral concealer for contouring, which you can see is a pretty good match for the natural shadow on my face. This one will set in place pretty quickly, so I'm just blending in the edges a bit before I put the foundation over it, and I apply that down the sides of my face just to give it a narrower appearance. And then I'm just contouring my nose for a little bit more definition all the way down the bridge. Okay, so of course a long wear foundation. This one is by Smashbox and it was made for photography. It diffuses light, it's sweat proof, so it's perfect. I think it looks best when applied with a sponge, and I find that to be pretty typical for HD foundations. Then I'm going to take Naked Skin Concealer in Light Warm and apply it to the areas that I feel like look a little bit shadowy. And I'm going to set that so that it doesn't begin to crease with this new Zoeva Powder Fusion brush. And I just swirl my brush around so that it's nice and coated and even. Otherwise, it can grab onto the concealer and it'll look a little patchy. So for my brows, I'm just using my favorite products, Brow Wiz in Ebony, the Dip Brow in Dark Brown, and of course the Clear Brow Gel, because otherwise my eyebrows will go astray during the night. To set the rest of my face, I'm going to apply a light layer of this powder foundation, which is another light diffusing product that looks amazing in photography. Later on, I'm going to buff more in just to really get a flawless finish. Finally, I'm just packing highlighting powder under my eyes. This way I can knock off any glitter that gets onto my skin. It's a lot more difficult to remove it without powder because it'll just stick to your skin. To prep my lids, I just applied concealer and set it with the matte highlight shades from the NYX palette, and then I'm applying that under the eyes with a wedge sponge. Hopefully I didn't run through that too quickly, but onto the eyes. Starting with this matte neutral brown and tapping off any excess with these shadows because they do get a lot of kick up despite being a useful palette with great quality. I'm starting in the center of the eye and I'm applying it with a stiff pointed blending brush into the socket and blending it out with a fluffier brush, and I'm taking that towards my nose contour, just blending them together and then diffusing it out towards the brow bone. Picking up the warm dark brown, I'm just going to repeat that same process, but this time I'll keep it more concentrated in the crease in the outer half of the eye. For most of this look, I'll just be using those two brushes, the Sigma E44, which is awesome for a precise and concentrated application of color, and then the Zoeva crease brush just to blend it out. And it's a really simple process of just applying the color and blending it with the previous color until you get a nice clean smokiness in the crease. And for these first few steps, I'll be keeping the shape pretty high in the outer corner. So that the eye is nice and opened up, I'm applying these light colors underneath the entire brow. Okay, so to deepen this even further, I'm taking that dark brown, tapping off the excess and picking up some of the black, and then I swirl it on the back of my hand first just to make sure it's pretty well mixed, and then apply it as the next step in the gradation. Laying this base takes away a lot of the headache that you get with using dark colors, and we're gonna still be further deepening it, so it just lays a nice little groundwork for it. First, I'm going to apply the base color to our lid. This is Anastasia's new shadow in Brownie, which is a really pretty warm chocolatey brown. And you'll want something kind of warm toned and dark to lay the glitters on top of, just to add depth to the look. I'm using the Sigma Cream Color Brush, just so I can get a pretty nice pigmentation of the shimmer that's in this This cream shadow has super fine particles, which will reflect light differently than the other glitters in our look. Otherwise, it'll end up looking like a sheen on camera. And then you won't capture the beauty of the look in a photograph, and there's no fun in that. If you don't get a picture of your makeup, did it really happen? I don't know. That's why Instagram. Now we're getting to the fun part. I'm applying the glitter liner all over the lid, applying it in a more concentrated way in the inner corner. And this glitter is also pretty fine, though not as much as the Dior one. And it's a little bit more of a soft golden beige tone, so slightly darker. And rather than applying a glitter glue, I'm using this as the main way to apply my Makeup Forever loose glitter on top. I sprayed my brush first and then tapped off excess glitter so that it didn't get all over the place. And then I pat it over the liner, concentrating on the outer half of the lid, and then I went back over the outer corner with brownie and the inner corner with the liner, and once that dried, I layered the cream shadow over it for a brighter highlight. I also applied some of the loose glitter under the iris for an extra flourish. I used the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix like crazy. It's a setting spray, but it's a perfect glitter adhesive. So I sprayed my brush with it and patted it on top, and that glitter will not budge at all. Now I'm going to really deepen up the look. So I'm applying waterproof gel liner to the lash line and then bringing it back into the crease, smudging it out with this Zoeva Petite pencil brush. This will make sure that the darkness doesn't fade or crease throughout the night. I picked up some more black on that brush and then smudged it out further. Going back into my deep brown just to blend it out for a little bit smoother transition. Finally, I added more glitter below the black to make sure it looked cleaner. Brushing the glitter off my lashes and then applying mascara and these pinky goat lashes. I find it's easiest to look down into the mirror so that you see your lash line better. Just make sure that they're completely in place so that they don't start to come off during the night. I coated them in mascara and curled the ends just to make them a little bit more dramatic. I also added some waterproof black liner just to the inner corners because I thought it made it look a little bit more complete. And here are the eyes, so sparkly. I used a duo fiber brush just to knock off any glitter or extra powder that may have gotten on my face, and I'm almost ready now. I applied just a slight bit of powder contour from the NYX palette and then buffed in my powder foundation all over. Now that everything has settled into place, it just adds an extra flawlessness and blends in anything I may have missed before, and it blurs out any pores and imperfections. I'm dry, but this Smashbox foundation still always looks perfect on my skin. I wanted a glowy look, as I often do, so I took the Bobbi Brown Shimmer Brick, which is actually a pretty natural looking highlighter. So I dipped a brush into the lightest shade only, and I used that to bring light to the high points of my face. Tops of my cheekbones, inner corners of my eyes, on my brow bone a little bit, down the center of my nose, on my cupid's bow. And then I took a blush brush and swirled that in the entire shimmer brick. So then I applied that to my cheeks as a luminous bronzy blush. And of course, I buffed over my face just for good measure, one last time. To take away some of the powderiness, I applied Mist and Fix to my face, and then I applied a No Fuss lipstick. And I'm all done. Thanks so much for watching. Have a happy new year. I'm loving making these tutorials, even though I did not get to do as many as I wished. I will be doing a lot more in the new year. It's gonna happen and I'm so excited. So see you all in the new year.